Hello students, welcome again. Students, in today's lecture, we want to do a critical analysis of the trial scene presented in Act 4, Scene 1 by William Shakespeare in the tragic comedy The Merchant of Venice. So now let's begin. You see, the great Greek philosopher Aristotle believed that the plot is the soul of any drama, and he believed that these are the 5 stages of a good plot construction. What are the 5 stages? A good exposition, good rising action, good climax, good falling action, and a good resolution presented at the end. So if you examine this play, The Merchant of Venice, then this trial scene presents the climax of the play, and that's why it is very important. This trial scene, not only does it present the climax, it also projects 2 important characters like Portia, the heroine of the play, and Shylock, the villain, the antagonist of the play, and that's why it is very important. From thematic point of view also, this is the scene through which William Shakespeare has presented the conflict between life and death, the conflict between love and hate, the conflict between mercy and justice, and the conflict between tragedy and comedy. So thematically also this scene is very important as far as character building is concerned. Again, this scene is very important. Why? Because it projects 2 important characters, Portia, the protagonist, and Shylock, the antagonist. So now let's try to understand these things in detail. See, it is through this trial scene that William Shakespeare has projected the villainous qualities in the character of Shylock. Here, Shylock comes out as a cruel, as a merciless, as a bloodthirsty antagonist character. Okay, when the scene begins, Shylock is very happy and he enters the court with a scale in his one hand and a knife in his other hand. He wants to cut 1 pound of flesh from Antonio's body, and he appeals for the justice in the court. Bassanio is ready to pay twice the amount which Antonio had borrowed from Shylock. Now, because Bassanio had already married Portia, and that's why Bassanio has now managed for the money. But Bassanio requests Shylock to show mercy to Antonio, but Shylock is very firm in his decision. Not only this, the Duke of the court, the judge of the court, is also sympathetic to Antonio, and he also requests Shylock to forgive him for taking the flesh of Antonio. But Shylock again is not so much interested in all these requests, and he wants only 1 pound of flesh from Antonio's body. Okay, so this is what happens. He wants to take a revenge of all the insults which he had suffered from Antonio all through his life. So now Shylock, who is a representative of the Jews, and Antonio here in this play is presented as a representative of the Christians. So the conflict between the Jews and the Christians is found among these 2 characters, Antonio and Shylock. Okay. And Shylock speaks this line, if every ducat in 6,000 ducats were in 6 parts and every part a ducat, I would not draw them, I would have my bond. He says that now the time is over. I don't want my ducats back. I don't want any money from Antonio, any money from Bassanio, any money from the Duke. I want justice, and as per the law, as per the bond, I am free to take 1 pound of flesh from Antonio's body. So this is how this scene projects Shylock as a firm, as a cruel, as a bloodthirsty villain in this play. So this is one part. Okay, in the same manner, the same scene, the trial scene, also presents Portia as the heroine of the play. Okay, this scene brings about all her good qualities like punctuality. At the right time she enters the court. Okay, and like intelligence, it is through her intelligence that Portia rescues Antonio, right? Portia enters the courtroom in guise of a lawyer. Nobody knows that this is Portia. Okay, she supports Shylock's claim. In the beginning, she says that Shylock, you are right. You are free to take 1 pound of flesh from Antonio's body. So Shylock becomes happy. But then Portia says that wait a minute, before cutting this flesh from Antonio's body, remember that not a single drop of blood should come out from Antonio's body. Why? Because it is not mentioned, blood is not mentioned in your bond which is signed by Antonio. So she further says that if Shylock sheds 1 drop of blood, he would be punished for attempting a murder of a Christian. And as per the law of Venice, whoever attempts a murder of a Christian will be sentenced to death. So now the tables are turned. It is just because of the timely entry of Portia. It is just because of the intelligence of Portia, that the table is turned. Now Shylock instantly asks for the money, but now it's too late. Portia says that now you cannot get any money, instead you will get punishment. So according to the law of Venice, if any foreigner means any person who is not a Christian, he intends to kill any Christian person, he would be put into death. His penalty amounts to death sentence. So to avoid the capital sentence, he would have to be converted into Christian. So this was the law of Venice in those times. So this is how Portia rescues Antonio, and Shylock is sentenced not to death, but later on the court shows mercy and the court decides that half of the money should go to Shylock's daughter Jessica and half of the money should go to charity. So this is how that scene comes to the end. But as I told you in the beginning, this scene, the trial scene, has some thematic importance. Why? Because it is through this scene that Shakespeare has presented the theme of justice, also the theme of revenge, the theme of mercy, love, marriage and friendship. All these things are combined together in this one very scene which is presented in Act 4. Moreover, this scene, the trial scene, has also some dramatic importance. Why? Because had there been no trial scene presented by William Shakespeare, then remember this drama would have been a tragedy instead of a comedy. The Merchant of Venice, we know the end is happy. Okay, the 3 couples get married at the end of the play. Okay, and everyone is happy. But had there been no trial scene, there would have been no comedy. This drama, this play would have been a tragedy. Not only this, the last thing, that the trial scene also conveys some moral lesson to the audience, to the society. Okay, the play reminds us the moral lesson that showing mercy is good and being cruel is not good. Okay, our prayer to God teaches us to be merciful. If we do not show mercy, our fortune may be turned into a misfortune. So always we have to be merciful to the people around us in our practical life. So this is also a good moral message conveyed by William Shakespeare. All in all, let me conclude this argument by saying that the trial scene is the longest scene presented by Shakespeare. Number one. Number two, the trial scene presents the different themes like mercy, justice, love and hatred, the conflict between the Christians and the Jews. All these ideas are presented in this trial scene by Shakespeare. Dramatically also this scene is important. Why? Because had there been no trial scene, then this drama would have been tragedy instead of a comedy. Okay, moreover, this scene is important to project two important characters, Portia and Shylock, and ultimately the last important thing is it shows a good moral message also. So all in all, this scene is very important. So I finish it here. If you have still any doubts or questions, do write to me in the comment section of this channel, and do share this video among your friends and classmates. Thank you for watching. Thank you.